Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Slowpoke Racing and to the Ultimate Racing League, sponsored by Prop Up and Co. Now then, this is our Sunday Championship. We're with the Pro Split 2 League. There are 6 leagues, actually. Yeah, there's 6 leagues racing on a Sunday. So over 100 drivers. Wow, that's a lot of guys out on track. And yeah, we're with the Pro Split 2. So not quite at the top, but these guys are not far off. Now, this is week 6 or round 6, and it's the start of our endurance races. So it's just one race. As you can see there up at the top on the left, it is 27 laps. Now, we are over in America. We're up in the Sierra Nevada in the USA, and we're on Trail Mountain. Now, this is a fictional track. It's a GT7 track. 2.47 miles and 15 turns ahead of us. The great thing about I do like this track, and the great thing about it, there are several blind corners, 3 tunnels, and a massive long straight. Now then, because this is fictional track, there are no corner names, it's just numbers. So I've actually given a few of them a name of their own. So we'll see how that goes as we go along. But yeah, some great overtaking opportunities on this track, some great opportunities for slipstreaming, especially in the tunnel, which is just under a mile long. It's 0.83 of a mile long, the tunnel on the back straight. I've called that sideways straight now. So all corner names are named after some of the drivers throughout this throughout the URL league. We'll have a look at the track as we go around as normal. Now then, the other thing I said last week, I'm quite prepared this week. I'm quite proud of myself this week. My track map's out and ready to go. And I've also got the league table now. I said I'd bring this to you. We are at the halfway point. We've done our 5 sprint races. If you've not watched any of them, then go back and have a watch. Some fantastic racing to be viewed there. But this is the first of our endurance races. So we're at the halfway point. So we're going to have a quick look down the league. Now I'm going to do the top 5 and the bottom 5. So where should we start? We'll start at the bottom. So in 16th place, in 16th and 15th, we've got 2 of our Greek drivers. That's Sturpan and Pericles. Now they're on 0 points, but I don't think they've actually taken part in any of the races yet. So that's why they're down there on 0. I'm not sure if they are actually taking part at all. They may have dropped out. I'm not sure. We'll get confirmation on that one. It will alter things, obviously. In 14th, we've got P. White on 54 points. We've got Brian Moncarney in 13th on 63 points. And then in 12th, we've got Chuck just 3 points ahead of Brian on 66 points. That's the bottom of the table. The top of the table looks like this. Out in front, and by some margin as well, is Dan Dan, a fantastic start to the season he had. So no surprise at all that he's streaking ahead. 191 points for Dan Dan. In second, we've got Gower starting to mount a bit of a comeback now. He's on 49 points, so still a fair way to go. What is he now? 42 points adrift from Dan Dan, but there's a lot to play for. I think it's double points as well in the endurance races. So Dan Dan, he is catchable. So, yeah, keep your eye on it. Gower in 149. In third is Nath, just behind Gower with 147 points. So those two having a right good battle for second and third. In fourth, we've got Stubbs. Great start to the season he had as well. He's on 112 points. And then in fifth place at the minute, we've got Grasshopper on 99 points. So just 1 point short of that century. But I'm sure that'll change today. So that's the standings so far going into the second half of the championship. Now then, let's have a look down the grid, shall we? And we'll see where everybody is. So starting at the top, we've got Gower on pole position. So second pole in succession. He got pole in race 1, I think it was, last week. And also got a win. So Gower carrying on where he left off last week. Just behind him, we've got Nathan. Thank you, Nath, for sharing the replay so quickly as well, which enables me to crack on with them first thing in the morning. So thank you very much. But Nath has got himself in second. Good starting position for Nath. He's had a good steady season as well, hasn't he? Nath currently sitting third in the table, but he's been there and thereabouts all the time, just about for every battle. Every race he's been there battling away. So well done to Nath. In third, we've got our overall league winner. League winner? Well, who knows? League leader is Dan Dan, currently sitting in third. He did get a win last week, so again, he'll be looking to topple Gower and take a win in this one. One race, remember, this week around. Grasshopper sitting in fourth. His best so far this season has been fifth in round two, so he's not made it onto the podium yet. So, again, somebody else looking to try and topple the boys up at the top there and get himself up there with a glass of champagne in his hand. He's Grasshopper. Then we've got Paul in fifth, the fellow commentator. I say this quite a lot, but I suggest you do it. You head over to his channel. It's URL Paul on E72 Racing Channel and check out his replays. Really is a fantastic commentator, is Paul. Does some great track guides as well. If ever you're struggling for speed around a track, I suggest you go and have a look at Paul's replays, because his track guides, because he really is quite knowledgeable of these tracks. So that's Paul sitting in fifth. Silly Shot is sixth, another quick driver as well, got himself mid-pack for this race. I've got to fight his way through some fast guys ahead of him, but if anybody can do it, Silly Shot can. Then we've got Stubbs in seventh. Stubbs currently sitting fourth in the league table, and I love that livery as well. That is a fantastic livery. You're going to have to let me know, Stubbs, if you created that. If you do, then round of applause to you. But I do love that livery. So that's Stubbs in seventh. Then we've got Mika in eighth. Now, I got told Mika is he's only 15 years old. So if that is true for Mika, well, fantastic. Well done to you. He's up there with these very, very quick guys. And, well, to be honest, he's teaching some of them a lesson. So Mika in eighth. Then we've got Harry Poppins in ninth. Again, another fellow commentator. This race is littered with them now. Harry Poppins, fairly new to the commentating world, but doing an absolute superb job. So head over to his channel as well. That's Harry Poppins Racing Channel. Get subscribed and get watching some of his videos. He's covering the AM2 races in the Sunday Championship in the GR4s. I race in that one, and we have had some stonking battles in that. So, yeah, I suggest you pop over to Harry Poppins and check him out. Very enthusiastic, loves his racing, does Harry Poppins. It really does come through when you watch his replays. Then we've got Brian Moncarney in the, well, it's definitely a Lady Jaguar, isn't it? With that big lipstick there on the front grille, the eyelashes, that stuff. I'm not quite sure what he's called, that car. You'll have to let me know, Brian. Have you nicknamed her? I'm not sure. But Brian Mulcarney in 10th. Brilliant battle last week. He was right in the mix. I think it was Brian. Yeah, he was. I think he was right in the mix last week. So well done to Brian Moncarney. Or was that the Wednesday? It might have been the Wednesday. I've covered that many races. I think it was the Wednesday, actually. Yeah, Brian Moncarney. Fantastic racing on the Wednesday. So we know how quick he is. Then we've got Dizzy in 11th. Good to have Dizzy on track. Been with URL for quite a while, actually, Dizzy has. So I think if it's the right Dizzy I'm thinking of anyway. Again, very quick driver is Dizzy in 11th. Then we've got Bloomfield. Now then, Bloomfield, let me just introduce you to Bloomfield, the newest of our commentators. Now, he's did his first race yesterday, and I did write down his... where on earth did I put that? I've gone absolutely bonkers. Oh, I know how to put it. Sorry for the paper rustling. There we go. So, yeah, Bloomfield, the newest of our commentators covering the Ultimate Racing League races. Now then, Bloomfield is going to be covering one of the Wednesday Championship. It's our manufacturer Group 3, Group 4 races. And Bloomfield is covering one of those. Now, his channel is Ethan Bloomfield at Apex Bloom 73. That's Ethan Bloomfield at Apex 73. Get yourselves over there. Get subscribed. And, well, considering he's not done it for, he sounds like a professional already. So well done to Bloomfield for his coverage of that race. So yeah, get yourself over there, check him out. And then in 13th, we've got P. White bringing up the rear there in the Nesquik chocolate milk Jaguar. Everybody in the Jaguar, as you would have noticed, and if you've been following this channel for the last few weeks, you will already know that, won't you? So I'm going to get myself kind of sorted again, put some of my paperwork back where it should be, and we'll crack on with this race. So we'll get them lights out and we'll get underway. Now then, all tyre compounds have to be used. That's softs, mediums and hards. So there will be a couple of pit stops as they get underway, and everybody got away nice and cleanly this time around as Gower leads us into the first turn, and Nathan's already putting him under pressure. Now this first couple of turns are a bit tricky. You've just got to get that right. Just cut that first corner a little bit. We'll just make sure everybody's got through, and I think we are okay. Yes, we are. We're still going into the first of the tunnels at turn 4. Now that I've called this Hodges hairpin, as we head down now towards turn 5. Again, a very tricky turn. At turn 5, it's this sharp right-hander. You can easily catch the curve on that one. So back up to the top, and Gower leads us out the second tunnel, then into the third tunnel. This is the long back straight. This is where you're going to pick up your slipstream. And at the minute, everybody's just going to pick up a bit of slipstream from everybody else. Fantastic start from Paul to get himself up into third already. So made up a couple of places as Paul, and got himself there in a podium position. It is early days, obviously, with 27 laps to go. A bit of a battle behind with Stubbs in 4th and Grasshopper still in 5th. Those two having a bit of a fight. Now then, a very slight gap opening up between Paul and Stubbs. So let's have a look at the tyres, because that may affect this. So Gower is on the mediums, so is Nath. Paul is on the 3rd, so that would explain the fantastic start he's had. So he's going to be looking to try and get by Gower and Nath as quickly as he possibly can. These soft tyres, how long are they going to last? Well, I'm not sure. Probably 6 to 8 laps. I don't know. We shall see. Then we've got Stubbs also on the soft tyres. So again, he'll be looking to try and get to the front as quickly as possible. Grasshopper running the mediums. Dan running the mediums. Silly shot on the hard. Excuse me. So Silly Shot, as Brian Moncarney there pulls out to make an overtake on Silly Shot. Silly Shot on those hard tyres. Excuse me. I didn't think he was going to defend too hard, but fantastic racing between Silly Shot and Brian Moncarney. Brian Moncarney gets through though. Brian Moncarney also on the hard tyres as well, so an even better move, because both on the hard tyres, very cold hard tyres as well, so not a lot of grip. Brilliant stuff from Brian Moncarney. Harry Poppins, he's on the hard tyres. Bloomfield also running the hards. In fact, I would imagine most of the guys at the back here are going to be running the hards, and they are. Mika down at the back, so, oh dear, what's happened to Mika? Let's just go back. They were all there, weren't they? Oh, now then, has Mika come into the pits? He has. It looks like Mika's coming to the pits. Now, this is very early on lap 1. I thought you had to run a minimum of 3 laps. I'm just going to take a quick swig of tea, because trying to clear this frog out my throat. I thought the rules were you had to run a minimum of 3 laps on each compound. We'll come back to Mika and see what he's coming out to. He's on the hard tyres at the minute as he enters the pit lane. So out in front of is still Gower, trying to pull away from the rest of the pack, and it has got a slight gap. Now then, Nathan's made his way up into second, and he's got Paul all over the back of him. So Nathan having to do some defending. Paul trying to have a bit of a sniff up the inside, but nothing doing there, and backs out very sensibly too as we go through Hodges hairpin. Down into turn 5 then, this sharp right-hander. Let's just avoid the curve on the left, shall we, boys? Through turn 6, and then into turn 7. Another sharp right-hander, another blind turn really, before throwing us into the tunnel. As you exit that tunnel, then you want to sling the car to the left, because you're going to enter into this long tunnel now, which is the back straight and Paul. So let's jump on board with Stubbs as he makes the move on Paul. Now, no drafting or slipstreaming, drafting, whatever you want to call it, allowed in the Ultimate Racing League. So Stubbs has had to make his move. Paul is still there. Let's get out of here and have a look. Almost side by side, but Stubbs gets the job done and moves up into P3. Paul still on the attack as Stubbs comes up against the back end of Nate's Jaguar, and no room to overtake there, so Paul sticking to Stubbs like glue. Grasshopper looming in the background in 5th, Dandan's there as well in 6th, as Stubbs just has to slot in behind Nate for these next couple of turns as we head down towards the final couple of turns now at the chicane, which is turns 14 and 15. Stubbs, if you can have a look at Nathan. Come on, Mark, get the right camera at least. There we go. And around the final turn, then they come on to this straight now, heading towards turn 1. Across the start-finish line, Stubbs eyeing Nathan, pulls to the inside on, well, I've called this one the Seamus Start Straight. Because that's exactly what it is, the start straight. As Stubbs goes through and takes second away from Nate, but Nathan's going to carry on fighting. Paul still there. Now then, Grasshopper sniffing around the rear end of Paul. This is a great opening few laps for these guys. Some proper battles taking place. Mika's still all the way at the back. We're going to have a look at him in a minute. Dandan, oh, Dandan! Wow. Well, what fantastic car control from Dandan. Let's have a look at this. The back end really didn't want to play there, did it? As it decided it was going to come round first to the left, then the right. Great catch from Dan. That could have been an absolute disaster for him, but brilliant car control to keep that car on the straight and narrow and maintain 6th position. Didn't lose a lot of time either, it's got to be said, as he cuts this corner and gets into the tunnel. So great stuff from Dandan. Now the gaps start to open up. Back to Silly Shot. Silly Shot leading this group of hard tyre runners. Silly Shot in 7th and has given himself a little bit of room back to Harry Poppins, but Harry Poppins will stick in there. Now I think we started this race, I think it's called dusk, isn't it, where the sun starts to go down. I was hoping it was going to get a little bit lighter, but it seems to be getting a little bit darker, but there you go. So Silly Shot in 7th, Harry Poppins in 8th, just fending off the attentions of Bloomfield. Bloomfield made his way up into 9th and all over the back of Harry Poppins. Some great liveries out there, isn't it? I love Harry Poppins livery. That is absolutely awesome. Livery. I'm pretty sure Mark does his own liveries as well, and if he did that, then yeah, great stuff. Love that. Bloomfield again, another great livery for Bloomfield there in the Jaguar. Like I say, I don't know who. I'm pretty sure most of the guys do their own liveries, but some do actually. Shouldn't say borrow them. But great looking cars as they cross the start-finish line then to start lap 4 as Bloomfield sits in 9th. Brian Mulcahy in 10th, then we've got Dizzy in 11th, P. White in 12th, and Miko. Well, he's still on the hard tyres, so I'm not really sure what that pit stop was all about, but it really has. I know we're at Trial Mountain, and this really has given him a mountain to climb. That is some gap between himself and P. White, and he's on the hard tyres as well, so he's... Come on, Mick. I mean, Mick is quick enough to catch up. So maybe there was a technical issue or something. We don't know. But, yeah, we're willing you along, Miko. We want you to catch up. But he's currently sitting down there in 13th then. So out in front, back up to the top, is Gower. Again, another fantastic livery, Rolex. If he's sponsored by Rolex, does he get a free watch? Can you get me one? With another Rolex. So Gower out in front then with Stubbs now. Stubbs in 2nd position. These two starting to pull away. Paul is in 3rd. He's got himself back up to 3rd ahead of Nate. So whether it was a slipstreaming or so, I'm guessing it was a slipstreaming that's helped Paul get by, because I think if Nathan had come off, he would have had a bigger gap. As they come around turns 14 and 15 and back onto the Seamus Start Straight, it is Nath in 4th, Grasshopper in 5th, and then Dandan in 6th. So these group of 4 guys here just seem to just be following. They're quite happy at the minute to let Paul lead, provide a slipstream. Paul currently sitting on that 3rd podium spot. As it stands, we are only on lap 5, so 22 laps ahead of us, 2 pit stops ahead of us. We will do a lap. In fact, you know what? We might as well do one when they come around the next lap before it gets too dark. Although it is starting to get dark now, isn't it? May have left it too late, sorry. But we're going to do one when we start. Oh, in fact, you know what? Let's do one with Mika. He's just got across the start-finish line. So we'll do one with Mika. So let's go on board. Oh, come on, Mark. Sort yourself out. There we go. So we're sorry we've already done turns 1 and 2 and 3. Now we're into Hodges hairpin in the tunnel. As we emerge there, we try and get the car over onto the left. As we hit turn 5, this right-hander, trying to avoid that curve on the right-hand side and then on the left as well. Through turn 6, into the right-hander of turn 7, under the short tunnel. And then keep the car as tight to that left-hand apex as you possibly can before getting the power down into the tunnel. This is the long back straight. We call this one the sideways straight. 0.83 of a mile sprint all the way down to the entry into turn 9. Turn 9, a sweeping left-hander. Again, trying to hug that inside line. Don't clip that crooked rock on the left-hand side. But Mika does a nice tight job there. Into turn 10 at Ruthless Rumble. This is turn 10, 11 and 12. Hard on the brakes to get this right-hander at turn 12 done. Then we go down a slight hill and head towards turn 13. This is Bloomfield Bend. Not its official name, obviously. Past the pit entry there on the left, and then head towards kind of chicane at turn 14 and 15, which then brings us back onto the Seamus start straight. And again, power down. So that was a lap with Mika. Thank you for taking us around, Mika. Now then, we've got P. White. P. White has come into the pit, so he's done 6 laps, and then he's decided to come in and get his tyres changed. So let's just see what P. White has decided to put on. He's going for softs. So P. White has come in, and for the second stint he's doing softs, so he's now at the back. Now then, gaps starting to appear if we look at that map on the right-hand side. So out in front is Gower. Bit of a gap then back to Stubbs. Although Stubbs is still there and within touching distance of Gower just up ahead. Then Nath, there is quite a bit of a gap then back to Nath as he just leads a pack of 4 out of the tunnel. Paul having a look at the inside of Nath as they come into turn 9. Paul moves up into 4th there, Stubbs in 2nd, Nath in 3rd, Paul in 4th, and you're all getting very tight out there. Grasshopper in 5th, Dan in 6th, so no change there. Dan and Grasshopper have been in 5th and 6th for the last few laps. It is Paul and Nathan seem to be chopping and changing. I need a quick swig of tea before it goes cold. Very nice. Keeps the old throat lubricated. So, Silly Shot in 7th then. Only a bit of a lonesome at the minute. Oh, and Stubbs is in. Stubbs has decided enough is enough. This is after the end of lap 6, so Stubbs does, well, look at those tyres. Yeah, no wonder Stubbs has come in. So we may see the rest of the guys on the soft tyres start to come in. Do you know what? Let's just go back up to the top and start again, shall we? So Gower, he's on the mediums. Nath also on the mediums. Then we've got Paul. Let's have a look. Yeah, that front right is about gone for Paul, so he's going to be struggling to hold on to that P3. At the minute, you can see Grasshopper has made his way up into 4th. He got by. Did he get by? Because he wasn't. He was in 5th, wasn't he? Oh, of course he was. Yeah, we've had somebody come into the pit. So Paul in 3rd. Grasshopper challenging Dan, and Dan having a proper good fight with Grasshopper. Side by side, out of the tunnel into the long straight. Now then, not going to pick up any slipstream. In fact, Grasshopper's the one that's going to pick up the slipstream. You can see Dan there just slotted in behind Grasshopper. Let's go on board with Dan as we get down the hill then and start towards the exit of the tunnel. And Dan just couldn't quite get close enough. Grasshopper picking up a bit of slipstreaming from Paul as they get into turn 9. Now then, I'm just going to jump out of these cars because I think some of these guys are going to be coming in. Paul certainly will, or a very brave man if he doesn't. We'll just follow Paul through as he's is he going to stay to the left and come into the pit lane. or is he going to stay out? Oh, he's got to stay left and come into the pitch. Yeah, there we go. So Paul is going into the pit lane then. Grasshopper, he's going to carry on through. So is Nath and Gower. So the top three now is Gower, Nath and Grasshopper. Dan has gone into fourth. Paul going to change those soft tyres. Maybe going to splash of fuel. Silly Shot on the hards. When is he going to come in? He's decided to carry on. He's going to do a longer stint on those hard tyres. We've got Harry Poppins also on the hards. It's going to be fuel, I think, that brings these guys in. Harry Poppins currently, well, he's in sixth now, as Paul's still in that pit lane. Let's have a look. Bloomfield, he's put in a challenge in. Who's Bloomfield racing? He's with Dizzy. Bloomfield on the hard tyres. Yes, he is, yeah. And Dizzy is on the hard. Bloomfield keep chopping and changing. Bloomfield on the hard tyres. So it is Bloomfield in 8th with Dizzy in 7th. As it's all, oh, Bloomfield, get off the grass. Just got the car back on track before hitting the first of the tunnels at Hodges Hairpin. That's cost him a tenth or two off the back of Dizzy, but Bloomfield still sitting there in 8th on the hard tyres. So out of 27 laps, let's have a look. What do we think? Hard tyres, are they going to go to about lap 10, something like that? I think between 10 and 12, maybe. I'm only guessing, I don't know. We've seen that the hard tyres will only last about 6 laps. So I'm not even going to bother trying to work it out. Should have watched the race first, shouldn't I? Then it sounded like I know what I'm talking about. But anyway, we're following Bloomfield down the hill towards turn 9 before hitting 10, 11 and 12 at Rufus Rumble. So Bloomfield just losing a bit of ground on Dizzy. Dizzy's starting to get his foot down and find some rhythm now, and you can see that in his lap times. 1:55.55. He did a 54 in lap 5, but the rest of them have been around about the 55, but there and thereabouts. So very consistent from Dizzy. That's good racing, keeping it nice and constant on those hard tyres. So he's still going to stay out, do a few more laps yet. Bloomfield is doing the same. Mika in 9th now after the pit stops, and he's going to stay out as well. Not quite sure why he came in before. We can see that Grasshopper's into the pits. He's on the medium tyres, so fuel probably brought him in. Let's have a look, see what else is happening. Now then, Paul is out on the medium tyres for his second stint, so he's leaving the hard tyres till the last stint then. So Paul looking to go a bit deeper into this race now on the mediums. Currently sitting in 12th, but a lot of the guys ahead of him have yet to pit. And then we've got Brian Moncani, already made his stop and he's out on the medium tyres, and you can see the light really has started to fade now. Very dark out there in parts of the track. It's going to be even darker. So we're not going to see a lot from now on, apart from headlights. So Gower out in front then on the medium tyres. Let's have a look, just under a quarter of a tank of fuel. He's going to keep going at least for another couple of laps, I'm sure. Doesn't want to lose this advantage he's got. If the tyres start to give way on him, then he might consider coming in. I don't think he's going to come in this lap. I would be surprised if he does. We're just going to stay with him as I finish off my tea, which is now pretty cold actually. I know some people like cold tea, but not for me. It's got to be hot, hotter the better. So Gower does stay out, so does Nate, so does Dan. All three on the medium tyres. Silly Shot on those hard tyres. He's going to have to come in now. He's about run out of fuel, so Silly Shot is going to get a change of boots and fill up of fuel. Bloomfield, is he going to come in? No, he thinks he can get one more lap out of that full fuel tank. Tyres are okay. Those hard tyres, the front right is probably the worst of the lot. So Bloomfield is going to do one more lap. Dizzy, he's going to follow him. Oh, Dizzy picked up half a second penalty up. You've really got to push the track limits to get penalties on this track. So Dizzy's been a very naughty boy somewhere. But he's now up into 6th. Fuel light flashing, so he's going to have to come in at the end of this lap. Mika moves up into 7th again. He's going to have to come in as well. Hope the guys don't start running out of fuel. This is a long track actually, 2.47 miles. But these guys know what they're doing. They obviously get to see how many laps they've got left in their fuel tank, which is why when the fuel light's flashing, you think they'd come in, but they don't have to because they know they can get another lap and a half out of the tank. B White in 8th. He's also got the fuel light on, so it's going to be quite manic in the pits at the end of this lap. Paul in 10th. He should start to gain a few places now. Paul, he's already made his pit stop. So has Grasshopper. So has Brian Moncarney, and so has Silly Shot. So although these guys are down at the back, they'll start to make those places up as the rest of the guys all start coming in. So let's have a look. Gower is going to come into the pits, is he? No, he's decided to stay out again. He's really looking after his fuel, isn't he? Doing a bit of fuel saving. He's tyre front right's looking a bit worn. He's going to start to feel that, I think. So he's probably going to have to come in at the end of this lap. Where are we? It's going to be lap 11, I think. Let's have a look. Has he crossed the line already? No. So it is going to be at the end of lap 11 for Gower on the medium tyres. Nath is in. Fuel has brought him in. Tyres, I think, would have made one more lap, actually. Same with Dan. Oh, I don't know. That front right looks like it might have been hurting him a bit. But yeah, we thought this is going to be quite busy in the pit lane as Bloomfield comes in. Dizzy is going to come in. Mika, well, he's in. Ran about out of fuel, so timed that one well, hasn't he? Stubbs has already made a stop, so he's in 7th at the minute. Probably going to gain, well, he's going to gain quite a few places and move himself up into 3rd. So we'll just keep an eye on these guys. Fuel going into Nate's car. So we'll start at the top. We've got Gower, who's definitely going to have to pit at the end of this lap, or out there on his lonesome. He's got to be 15 to 20 seconds ahead of Harry Poppins at the minute. Harry Poppins also going to have to pit, but he's now in P2. Stubbs in P3. Well, Stubbs is a long way off now then. This is going to be tight. I think Stubbs may just get the jump on Harry Poppins when Harry comes into the pit. Gower could possibly get out again ahead of Stubbs, so this is going to be interesting. Then we've got Paul in 4th, Dan in 5th. Then Nathan 6th, Grasshopper, Brian Moncarney, Bloomfield in 9th, all having made their stops. Silly Shot, he's picked up half a second penalty. Could have been worse, could have been 3 seconds from the pit lane, but Silly Shot in 10th. Then Dizzy in 11th, Mika in 12th with P. White just coming out of the pits in 13th. And there we go, race leader is in, so that is Gower into the pits. Who's going to be followed by Harry Poppins. Now I think we're looking at around 50 seconds to a minute pit stop, I believe. So Harry Poppins is in. Now then, Stubbs, where is Stubbs? Now, as I said earlier, I think he may just about get the jump on Harry Poppins, but it's Gower we're going to keep an eye on because the fuel is now going into Gower's car as Stubbs comes around Bloomfield Bend at turn 13, heading towards the final couple of bends. The fuel's still going into Gower's car, not quick enough for Gower though, I'm sure. And Stubbs around the final turn at turn 15 onto the Seamus Straight. Now it's showing that Stubbs is out in front, but he's got to get past that pit exit. Gower still taking fuel on, so yes, Stubbs has gone through, and Paul has gone through as well. Well, has he? Where is Paul? This is going to be so tight. Gower comes out literally just ahead of Paul. That was a great stop from Gower. The pit crew done their job well. Stubbs has gone through, but he's going to have to pit way before Gower does because of the fuel situation. But Gower got ahead of Paul. So Paul into 3rd, but he has got the warmer tyres, so his tyres are going to be up to speed. Gower, oh, he's on some hard tyres, so they're going to be cold. The temperature dropping as well out there on the track as night falls. So Gower's just got to take it easy for these next few turns if he knows how to take it easy. Paul can really put the pressure on, try and force a mistake from him. He's on those warm medium tyres, they're definitely going to be up to racing temperature. Then we've got a great battle behind. Look at this, Dan and Gower side by side through the tunnel all the way down the hill towards turn 9. It is Grasshopper on the inside. Is Dan going to break early and try and get a cutback? Grasshopper moves over to the right to get back onto the racing line. Grasshopper maintains P4. Dandan just slotted in behind him in P5. Great racing from those two guys. Good move from Grasshopper to get himself up into fourth, just ahead of Dandan, although this is a battle I don't think has finished yet. We've managed to catch up to the back of Paul. So Paul, sitting on the podium on the third step, he's going to be looking in his mirror. In fact, let's jump on board with Paul, shall we? We come towards the end of lap 12, a quick look behind us, and there is Dandan. Oh, and it looks like Grasshopper's made a move up the inside. We missed that, so apologies. Let's go back and have a look, shall we? We'll go on board with Grasshopper. Grasshopper makes the move going into turn 14 up the inside. He is on those soft tyres. Paul's got the inside into turn 15 and they come out side by side. Dandan just sitting there behind, but the softer compound has helped Grasshopper get a much better exit, and Dandan goes flying by Paul as well. So Paul really bogged down, didn't he? Really bogged down. Let's have a look. Dandan on the hard tyres, Grasshopper on the softs. You expected Grasshopper to get a better exit out of turn 15, but Paul really bogged down. Just couldn't get the power down, could he? And lost a couple of places there. So Paul gone from third down to fifth at one turn. Grasshopper moves up onto the podium then, with Dandan following very, very closely. Dandan on those hard tyres, so having a good race on those hard tyres, keeping up with Grasshopper. Grasshopper's tyres looking worn. It's got to be said, that front right is going to start to hurt Grasshopper now. He's going to feel it in some of these turns. May have to brake slightly earlier than he normally would to get the car to turn in, otherwise it's going to start slipping away from him. Dandan in the slipstream of Grasshopper. He's thinking to get close enough. We'll just stick with these two as they come out of the tunnel down towards turn 9. I don't think Dandan's going to get close enough to make a challenge on Grasshopper just yet. Paul slipping further back. His front tyre is definitely up to temperature, so Paul's just struggling just a little bit. He's just going to take a few deep breaths, I'm sure, gain his composure and then get back on it. Nathan's sixth position at the minute. He can see the rear lights of Paul. He can't really see the car, but he can see the rear lights. So Nathan's sixth, gives him something to go at. He is on those hard tyres for this second stint. Sitting in sixth. Then we've got Brian Moncani. The field's starting to spread out a bit now, especially towards the back. Brian Moncani sitting in seventh. Infield is in eighth. All these guys having a bit of a lonely race. It's difficult, especially in the dark as well, trying to keep the concentration as Bloomfield goes around turn 15 then for the 13th time, headed towards the start-finish line to start lap 14. So we are definitely just creeping over the halfway mark in this round 6 race. This is the first of the endurance races. Then we've got Henry Poppins sitting in 9th. Never right, Henry Poppins off for a podium finish. Doesn't matter where he is during the race, he always seems to come strong towards the end. So again, one to keep an eye on is Henry Poppins. I've said it many times, I do love that livery. We've got a little bit of pink and purple on the car. Everybody loves a bit of pink and purple, but Henry Poppins there sitting in 9th. Silly Shot in 10th. He's on those medium tyres now. So I think he's got the soft tyres to look forward to. So now then, he's going to have to run these medium tyres to around about lap 21, I think, because we saw that the soft tyres only really last for about 6 laps. Unless you're careful with them, you might get 7 out of it. So Silly Shot has got to take those medium tyres for about another 6 laps. He's got to get to about lap 20, 21. Same with the rest of the guys that have got the soft tyres running at the last stint. They've got to get to round about lap 20 to 21. So Silly Shot at the minute in 10th. He really is on his lonesome, isn't he? Then we've got Dizzy again, all on his own. He's on those medium tyres. Mika in 12th. Would love to know why he came into the pits after lap 1. Oh, unless it was a it might have been a drive-through penalty. There we go, it might have been a drive-through penalty, which is why he came into the pits after lap 1. I think you have to get any penalties have got to be served within the first 3 laps. So I'm guessing that's what it is. It's a drive-through penalty for me, which is unfortunate. But the main thing is he kept going, he's pushing, probably sitting in 12th. You've got P. White not that far behind him actually. P. White on the medium tyres, Mika also on the medium tyres, down in 13th. So pit stops really have spread this field out now. Back up to the top, and Stubbs is still leading. He's got a decent gap actually. I'm only guessing, I would say about 4 or 5 second gap between himself and Gower. Gower up into second on those hard tyres and holding P2 as well. So he's doing a great job at the minute. I think he's got the medium tyres to come as Gower. I can't remember. I ought to make a note of this, haven't I? But Gower's obviously got a softer compound to come. It's either going to be the softs or medium. But Gower currently sitting in second. Grasshopper in third. Well, that front right has definitely gone now for Grasshopper. Practically no tread on that whatsoever. So I would suspect Grasshopper is going to come into the pits. Very, very brave man if he doesn't, because that tyre will be completely dead by the end of this lap. So let's just keep an eye. Is he going to stay on the left? Oh, he's going to stay out. Grasshopper is going to stay out now. Then he has got to be careful, because that front right is about dead. The next few laps, the next few corners are going to really split that tyre now as he chases on after Gower. You can see some of the other guys coming into the pits. Bloomfield has come in. Brian Mulcahy is in as well. I'm just gonna stay with Grasshopper just for the next couple of turns. You've really got to be careful, because that front left has got no grip on it whatsoever. Got to be said, he's doing a good job actually of keeping the car on the road, but he's going to be losing time. I think he's going to be losing time anyway, but then again, he'll probably prove me wrong in a minute. Put the fastest lap in. Talking of fastest laps, that belongs to Stubbs at the minute, a 151.8. Well, you can see Grasshopper's last lap was a 53.3. So 2.5 seconds off of the Stubbs pace at the minute. We've got Dan in 4th. He's okay for another few laps at least. He's got just under half a tank of fuel. He's on those hard tyres, so yeah, he's okay for a bit. He can just sit behind Grasshopper and wait for the mistakes to happen. Oh, laptop's turning me off now, thinking about security updates, etc. Get rid of that. Then we've got Nath in 5th. In fact, I'm just going to keep an eye on that left-hand table as well, because I think surely Grasshopper can come in at the end of this lap. Paul is in 6th. Then we've got Harry Poppins moved up a couple of places. Silly Shot in 8th. Then Dizzy, Mika, P. White, Brian Mulcahy and Bloomfield. So no battles anywhere. Everybody is completely spread out. Stubbs going to do another lap. So maybe thinking of coming in at the end of this lap 16. Is it 16? No, lap 17 he'll be coming in. Yeah, Grasshopper's into the pits. So Grasshopper does finally come into the pits with practically nothing left in the tank, nothing left on that front right. So Grasshopper into the pits then for his final change of tyre. I think it's his final change anyway. Is Paul going to go through? I think he will. Paul is going to get the jump on Grasshopper and move up into P5. There we go. So Paul up into 5th. Harry Poppins, he'll go through into 6th, while Grasshopper is still in the pits. Fuel finally going into his car. Where is Silly Shot? Silly Shot, he's going to move up a place as well. So Grasshopper dropping down the order now. We will have a look to see what tyres Grasshopper comes out on. Dizzy goes through. Mika goes through. Mika good for a few laps as well, just under half a tank of fuel. Tyres looking good as well on those mediums. P. White, he goes through, he's in 10th at the minute. So Grasshopper, excuse me, I do apologise. The Grasshopper is going to come out and rejoin in 11th now, and he's on soft tyres. Is he going to get soft tyres left for 10 laps? I doubt it. Well, that's going to be interesting to see if this is Grasshopper's final stint and he's on those soft tyres. Yeah, he's going to, well, I think he's going to punish those tyres very early on. Really good at looking after tyres, Grasshopper, but 10 laps is a big ask on soft tyres. But maybe I've got my calculations wrong and he has got one more stop to make. We shall see. So Stubbs, the race leader, current race leader, finally comes into the pits. The fuel has forced him in, barely anything left in that tank. Tyres looking worn as well, so Stubbs into the pits. Gower coming around turn 15 then and across the start-finish line to start lap 18 for him, and he's going to retake the lead of this race. Started pole, led for a good chunk of the first part of this race, and then it was the pit stops that kicked in which dropped him down the order, but he's now back up leading this race. Dandan is in second. Dandan's managed to get himself by Nathan up into second place now. Sorry we missed that, but Dandan on the hard tyres as well. Let's have a look. Gower also on the hard tyres. So Dandan up into second. Nath is in third. Let's have a look. Course of a tank of fuel. So yeah, he's got one more stop to make, hasn't he? So has Gower. So has Dandan. Paul, he's got one more stop to make. Probably in the next 2 or 3 laps. I think Paul might have the softs actually. No, he started soft, didn't he, Paul? He's got the hard tyres, so he's going to go as far as he can. Obviously, he doesn't want to do many laps on the hard tyres. So Paul sitting in fourth at the minute, looking to come in within the next couple of laps. Harry Poppins, he's made his way up into fifth now. I think last time we saw him, he was about 8th or 9th, wasn't he? So up to fifth for Harry Poppins. Just gone about his business. Stayed out of trouble, and yeah, got himself up to fifth. And we did say earlier on, didn't we, you never write Harry Poppins off for a podium finish. Oh, he's sitting in fifth. He's not that far behind Paul, but pit stops. So yeah, Harry Poppins could find himself up there battling for a podium. Same with Silly Shot. Silly Shot currently sitting in sixth. Now he has got quite a decent gap between himself and Harry Poppins, but again, not to write Silly Shot off. Currently sitting in sixth then. He's got Dizzy not that far behind him. Dizzy on the medium tyres at the minute, same as Silly Shot. Let's have a look at their times. They are, oh, look at that for consistency. 53.9, 53.8, 53.8, 53.6. That is consistent for Dizzy. Fantastic driving from him on those medium tyres. Mika in 8th. He's around average, I would say, about a 54 and 54, I think, average for Mika, so not that far off the pace. Obviously, he's 3 seconds off the fastest, but that would have been done on soft tyres very early on as well for Stubbs. So Mika up to 8th after his drive-through penalty. Stubbs in 9th after making his, I think, final stop actually for Stubbs. He's out on the hard tyres, full tank of fuel to take him to the end of the race. So yeah, I think that is Stubbs' final pit stop. So he knows the guys ahead of him have got to stop. He's just got to do a bit of catching up. Then we've got P. White. He's going to have to make a stop as well. Currently sitting in 10th. Grasshopper down in 11th. Those tyres started to wear a bit now. Now I'm not sure if Grasshopper's got one more stop to make. If he hasn't, it is going to be really touch and go for him, because I don't think those tyres are going to last. So, like I say, my own fault. Should have made a note of who was on what tyre. Brian Moncani on the softs. Yeah, he's got one more stop to make, hasn't he, Brian? We are only on lap 19 of 27, and the fuel dropping for Brian Moncani. Then we've got Bloomfield in 13. Just over half a tank of fuel. He's on the medium tyres. So that's the order as it stands at the minute. So Gower has got a good few laps ahead of him. Now then, Paul is in. Let's have a look. Paul right back ran out of fuel. So Paul is in for his final stint. So he's going to go on to a set of hard tyres, I believe. Splash of fuel to get him to the end of the race. So that's going to drop him down the order as Silly Shot comes up towards turn 14 and nearing completing lap 19. So 7 laps left for Silly Shot. You can still see Paul is in the pit lane, so Silly Shot goes through and moves up into P5. Dizzy follows him through and goes up into P6. Then Paul still in the pits, fuel starting to go on. So fresh set of boots on for him, fuel going in. Let's have a look where he's Stubbs. Stubbs is just going to go by. He's going to get the jump on Paul as well. So is P. White. Grasshopper goes through to 10th. So Paul all the way down to 11th and still taking on fuel. Where is Brian Moncani? He's going to go through as well. So Paul really dropping down the order. He's got to hope that most of the guys in front of him are going to have to make a pit stop. Brian Moncani goes through. He will have to make a pit stop because I think he's running out of fuel. He's only got a quarter of a tank. So Paul out on the hard tyres, as we said he would be, for his final stint. Bloomfield on the mediums, and I think Bloomfield has made his final stop as well. I don't know. I know Paul has made his final stop, that's all I know. Gower's got one more stop to make. Just under quarter of a tank of fuel. He's got quite a nice little cushion back to Dan, but these two really go, well, Dan is definitely going to have to come in. The fuel light's flashing, practically nothing left in that tank. So that would be confusing, wasn't it? So Dan into the pits then, going to get rid of those hard tyres. So this should be a good race to the finish then, if Dan's going to go on to the softs. Dave also in. Same situation for him, just barely a thimble full of fuel left in his tank. So Harry Poppins, he'll stay out, why not? Just under a quarter of a tank of fuel. Tyres look okay actually, although that front right is going to start to hurt him over this the course of this lap that he's just about to do. So maybe Harry Poppins, I think he's going to go on to the soft tyres as well. So he's timed it right actually. I think if he comes in at the end of this lap, this will be 21 laps, so that leaves him 6 laps on the softs, which is about right for those tyres. So good tactics from Harry Poppins, if that's what he's doing. Silly shot up to 3rd, and then we've got quite a flurry in the pits. Look, Dan's in, Nath, Dizzy is in, Mika is in, who else is there? P. White is in. So a lot of people into the pit, so we'll let them do their pit stops and then we can see where everybody is. At the minute we'll just stay with Gower. Look at the gap Gower has got. Now we do know that back straight through the tunnel is 0.83 miles in length, and as Gower approaches turn 9, we can see that Harry Poppins, currently sitting in P2, has just entered into the tunnel. So that is a massive gap for Gower. The thing on Gower's mind is now, when does he pit? He knows that Harry Poppins, he would have been told that Harry Poppins has got to pit as well. Harry Poppins nearest to him at the minute in 2nd. Silly shot, he's going to have to pit as well. So Gower should be able to come into the pits, whether he does it now or next lap. I think if I was Gower, I'd probably come in now. But Gower, he's going to stay out, so he obviously knows better than I do. But even when he does pit, his nearest rival is going to be Dan, and he is a long way off. Dan just coming around turn 9 now. You can see Harry Poppins is going to come in. So Harry Poppins wants to try and get in. He wants to get back out ahead of the pack, being led by Dan. Well, I say being led. Dan in 4th. Then we've got Grasshopper. There is a bit of a gap, but Grasshopper's leading Stubbs and Nath. So there's 3 cars there that Harry Poppins wants to get out in front of. Now then, just keep your eye on that left hand table there. You can see Harry Poppins is in, Silly Shot is in, Fuel not going, there we go, Fuel just starting to go into Harry Poppins car as Stubbs is going to go through. Now then, we did say, where was it, the danger? Could it be Paul? So Brian McCartney's in, Silly Shot is in, Harry Poppins is in, but Harry Poppins needs to get out, doesn't he? Grasshopper has gone through. Now then, unfortunately, Harry Poppins couldn't get out ahead of Grasshopper, couldn't get out ahead of Stubbs or Nath. And Harry Poppins rejoins in 6th for his final stint. No more stops ahead of him. But let's have a look. Who have any of these guys got to stop? Yeah, Grasshopper's got to stop. So he's got one more stop to do, hasn't he? Currently sitting 3rd on the grid at the minute, but he has got one more stop. That front right is about at it. Now then, race leader is in, Gower. He's going to come in now. I've got a feeling he's going to go on to soft tyres and splash of fuel for him. Dan, well, he doesn't need to pit, he's just done his, so half a tank of fuel, that should be enough, I think, to take him to the end of the race. He's on the soft tyres as well. He's not going to get close enough to Gower to take the lead off him. Just keep an eye on the top left then. The fuel not going into Gower's car yet. He's just getting some new boots on now. Now the fuel man can do his job. Gower giving it, come on, hurry up boys, hurry up. Where is Dan just going past the pit entry, heading towards turn 14. The fuel going into Gower's car, not quick enough though. Gower probably thumping that steering wheel, telling the guys to hurry up. How much fuel does he put in? Well, he's put 51 litres in and he's out. He can't wait any longer. He doesn't want to wait any longer. He's got Dan bearing down on him. So Gower rejoins in the lead with Dan crossing the line in second to start lap 23. Now then, there is a decent gap there now, so Gower can afford to do a bit of fuel saving. That probably, he just couldn't wait any longer, could he? For that fuel man, he wasn't going quick enough, so Gower, I think, just pulled off and left the fuel man standing there. But Gower can afford to do a little bit of fuel saving. You can see he is. If you look at the red bar right in the centre of the screen at the bottom, he just doesn't allow that red bar to drift all the way across. You can see him short shifting, so Gower definitely fuel saving. But he has got a gap. Let's have a look, see is Dan going to do any fuel saving? Yes, he is. Maybe it's the way to drive this Jaguar. Maybe you have to short shift to get the best out of it. But both Gower and Dan are fuel saving, or driving the car properly, I don't know. Dave sitting in third. Now then, yeah, he's doing a bit of short shifting as well. Good race from Nate though. He's on those soft tyres, needs to look after them. On lap 23 of 27, so 4 laps to go, including this one. We are about 2/3 of the way through this lap. Stubbs in fourth. That's a good race, hasn't he, Stubbs? Nice and steady, led for part of it. He is on those hard tyres now though for this final stint. Is he going to catch up to Nath on the softs? Well, he's got to wait for Nathan's tyres to start to deteriorate. Stubbs just needs to hang in there and hope for a mistake from Nath. Harry Poppins in fifth. Now I'm still not going to write him off for a podium finish. He's on the soft tyres and they are, what, about a lap, 2 laps old for Harry Poppins. He's got enough fuel to get him to the end of the race, so he can afford to give it some beans. He really is giving it the beans. He is short shifting, but not as much as the guys ahead of him. So Harry Poppins on a bit of a challenge now to catch up to the back of Stubbs and Nath. Let's just have a look. Where is Nath? Nath is just coming out of Hodges' hairpin. Harry Poppins, he's just coming out, so he's not that far behind. So only a few seconds separate Harry Poppins, Stubbs and Nath. So Harry Poppins wants to keep an eye on for a podium finish. I think the top 2 steps are pretty much secured actually with Dan and Gower. It does look like that gap's opening up slightly larger now for Gower, which is, I'm not surprised, very quick. Started on pole position to Gower. He's got the soft tyres on now. He's got the bit between his teeth and he's going to bring it home. Dan on soft tyres as well, although they are a lap or 2 older. So Dan may just be thinking settle for second in the first of these endurance races. Then Nath in third. Well, he's going to do his best to hang on to it. But he's got Stubbs chasing him down. Stubbs is on the hard tyres, so a bit of a task for him. But look at Harry Poppins, how close he is now. Let's jump on board with Harry Poppins, so that we can see a lot. Right in the cab, total darkness. I believe Harry Poppins races in VR, is it? So it must be terrible driving in VR in the dark. If this is the view we've got in sort of 2D, imagine what they've got in 3D. Just slicing that wheel. That is hard to take that corner if you can. Now that Harry Poppins really putting his foot down and closing in on Stubbs quick up behind as well. The nearest car is Paul and he is way down. He's just coming around turn 15 now. As Harry Poppins and Stubbs enter into turn 1, then turn 2, into turn 3. The sweeping left-hander before hitting the tunnel and going into turn 4. Hodges' hairpin. and Harry Poppins really closing in on Stubbs. As Stubbs on those hard tyres tries to get that Jaguar through these twisting turns in this early section of the lap. Again, Harry Poppins can really throw this car about. He's on the soft, although that front right is starting to wear out. We need a good exit into the tunnel. Now they go. You can see Stubbs moving over to the left, so he's letting Harry Poppins know he's going to defend this turn 9 as they start the descent down the hill in the tunnel. Harry Poppins picking up the slipstream, although it's not really going to kick in, is it, until they hit that turn at turn 9. So Harry Poppins not going to do anything there. He's got to wait for Stubbs to make a slight mistake, so we'll get out and let Harry Poppins get on with it. But we'll have a look down as Harry Poppins starts to put the pressure on Stubbs. All in 6th. Oh, he's picked up half a second. It's not going to affect anything though. He's in 6th. And I think that's pretty much where he's going to be finishing this race, but still a good result there. P6. Grasshopper in 7th. He's made his final stop and he's out on the time. And he's having a bit of a fight with Silly Shot. So Silly Shot on the inside as they come out of the tunnel. Now we've got 4 cars here battling away for just one or two places. Silly Shot holding on to P7 as they go through turn 9. Grasshopper in P8 at the minute. Grasshopper on the hard tyres. Let's have a look. Silly Shot on the soft, so he's got a better grip, although that front right is starting to hurt him a little bit now. So Grasshopper can afford to apply the pressure. Dizzy in 9th, he's also on the softs. Bit warm, but he's still there. And then we've got Mika in 10th, so a nice little battle developing here for, let's have a look, what is it, for P7. So 4-car battle for P7. Currently occupied by Silly Shot as they come around the final turn onto the straight. It is Silly Shot in 7th, Grasshopper in 8th. Just dropped off the back of Silly Shot a little bit, which will give Silly Shot a little bit of breathing space. Dizzy all over the back of Grasshopper as they head in towards turn 1. Dizzy really putting the pressure on Grasshopper on those hard tyres. Dizzy on the softer compound, although they are, well, they're about gone now, especially the front right. He's going to be struggling a little bit, Dizzy. All he can do is keep the pressure on Grasshopper, hope he can force a mistake so that he can nick that place off him. Mika just hanging around there in the background. He's hanging on as well because his front right was taking some punishment. So Mika just sitting there in the background waiting for the disaster to happen ahead of him if it happens. Nice little battle there. Let's just have a look, see where everybody else is. Bloomfield, he's in 11th. He's got P White not that far behind him actually. So it could be a nice little battle developing there. Bloomfield is on the soft tyres, P White on the medium, so Bloomfield does have the edge. And then if we just look back in the distance, see Brian Moncani in 13th, and with a half-second penalty, he's got damage at the front, so he's had a bit of a coming together with Barry R as Brian, and that's why he's got the half-second penalty as well. So let's just drop back up and see what's happening with Silly Shot. Well, Silly Shot starting to open a bit of a gap now back to Grasshopper in P8. The Grasshopper just shaking off the advances of Dizzy. I think Dizzy is struggling with that tyre, especially the front right. He's coming under attack from Mika as they get into turn 14. Again, front right really starting to hurt these guys on the soft tyres. If we go a little bit further up then and see what's happening with our race leader, Gower. Fuel lights is on. He's on the final lap though as he comes out of the tunnel for the last time into turn 9. This race is his to lose, as they say. So he's just going to take his time. Looked after the fuel very well. Looked after the tyres even better. And he can now just nurse that Jaguar home. Dan in the second. So that's your podium, well, the top 2 steps anyway, pretty much sorted. Nathan in 3rd. It looks like he's going to hold on to 3rd as well, so great driving from these guys. I'm just going to stay with Gower now as we come to the final couple of turns before getting on to the Seamus start straight. And it is Gower. Superb race, great tactics, and a good win for Gower. Flash of the lights and a weave of the car. You can see he's enjoyed that, hasn't he? So Gower takes the win in the first endurance. Dan is going to come in second Oh, a bit of a scrape with the barrier, but he won't mind that. And across the line for Dan to take P2. Well done to him. And then Nath is going to cross the line to complete the podium lineup then. So brilliant stuff from Nath. Glass of champagne waiting for him. Then we've got Harry Poppins. Really thought Harry Poppins might have got himself on the podium, but did get himself up to fourth. So great race from Harry Poppins. Stubbs across the line in fifth. Had a great race, I think, Stubbs. He should be pleased with that. Paul is going to come around the final few turns in sixth, all on his lonesome. But a good finish nevertheless for Paul. Are we going to get a flash of the lights as he crosses the line? No. Silly Shot is going to take P7. There we go, across the line for him. Grasshopper across the line with barely any fuel left, so Grasshopper in 8th. Mika in 9th despite his drive-through penalty. Bloomfield across the line in 10th. Dizzy will finish. What's happened to Dizzy? B. White goes 11th. Brian O'Connor 12th and Dizzy 13th. Darling, what's happened to Dizzy? Oh, don't tell me he ran out of fuel. Oh no! Dizzy ran out of fuel. He was in 9th. Drops to 10th, and the other cars are just flying. Oh no, what a disaster for Dizzy. It gets across the line. Let's have a look. Is he going to make it, or is Brian McCartney going to beat him to it? And poor old Dizzy from 9th to 13th as he crawls his way across the line. How cruel is that? But what a fantastic race from the Pro Split 2 guys here at the Ultimate Racing League. Round 6 at Trail Mountain. Join me next week. We will be at Fuji. That could be an interesting one. It does tend to race over there in does tend to rain over there in Japan. So Fuji will be on the long track as well. So that's going to be an interesting race. Thank you very much for watching. Remember to hit that like button if you've not already subscribed, and if you can do that, that would help me out tremendously. Looking to hit 500 subscribers by the end of, let's say June, shall we? I know it's a massive ask, but I'm sure with your help we can do that. Thank you for watching once again, and I shall catch you all very soon.